wise man, as he brings his years of being a professional educator, visual artist, performer, American Sign Language interpreter, author, and lover of comics and film, to all areas of his life and his ministry. He is frequently sought after at various churches and centers and events to speak, and we are very fortunate today to have him.
Amen.
He's speaking on the power of vision. We're all in that process, individually and collectively, so we are really looking forward to your message. When Reverend Raymont is not teaching, speaking, writing, creating, performing, he loves spending time with his family, especially with his amazing grandkids. Actually, he sent me this little blurb of him, and he said he likes to harass, was that the word? His grandchildren. So we'll have to ask him what he means by that later. All of us are grandparents, sort of know what that means. So welcome to our Unity community, Reverend Raymond.
So just take a breath. And as we breathe, I invite us that whatever it is that we say when we do prayer, we get to the end, whether it's amen, ashe, aho, and so it is, whatever it is that we say, I want to begin the prayer from that. I want to begin the prayer from that space of, and so it is. Begin from the space of health and well-being, and so it is. Prosperity and joy, and so it is. Whatever it is that we, as divine incarnations and expressions of the divine, whatever that is that we have set into motion through our own mental equivalents, our thoughts, our words, our emotions and feelings, and our actions. Amen. Amen that we are making friends and building community. Amen that we are moving as a divine expression in the mind that is God. Amen that this community is the only unity in Delaware, because imagine, amen, the power of the impact and influence of this community in this state, right here and right now. Amen. Amen that whatever it is that we have set into motion that we choose to experience in our lives, orgasmic bliss and joy, the deliciousness of creativity, imagination, laughter, that which is the universe itself, that which is the creative power of the law, says yes. It says amen. It matches, it touches and agrees to what we choose. Amen that in this moment we choose health and well-being, love and joy, wisdom for all of humanity, effective leadership throughout, food for all, homes for all, that whatever it is, we, as has been mentioned, there are many grandparents in the room, that we are setting into motion, that our grandchildren and great-grandchildren look back through the history books and say, wait a minute, there was a time when people were unhoused? Wait a minute, there was a time when people didn't have clean drinking water? Wait a minute, there was a time when there was actually a thing called war? We are the ones, through our divine purpose, our divine showing up, that we transcend, transform, and evolve. That our amen is the way we live our lives. We are living demonstrations of prayer. Breathe, knowing that that is what is so, and so it is. You noticed that, huh?
Well, let's sing them.
So how's it going?
Great.
Okay, so I'm going to ask your permission, because I would like to upset the apple cart, you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So is it all right, in order for us to get to this place of, for me, what vision means for me, are we okay with moving through some of the jargon that we get stuck in sometimes, especially we in New Thought? Moving past the jargon and stepping into a space of, wait a minute. So that applies, wait a, what? Are we okay with doing that?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So if we're going to do that, then the very first thing I have to ask is, and this is the public school. I used to be a public school teacher, so let's go a moment. So think to yourself, I'm going to ask a question. I want you to think to yourself, if I was walking down a busy New York street and the person on the corner said, I've got a question for you, how would you answer this question? Ready? When I say the word vision, what comes to mind? Like we all have this idea of vision. And I know generally it depends on how it's being used. You know, you're going to an eye doctor to, get your glasses. Oh, well, then you're talking about my eyesight. Okay. But there's also vision when someone says, we were talking the other day and my intuition, I had this insight that you were hinting at something that you didn't want to say outright. Okay, so we've got eyesight, we've got insight. Then we've got the, since we're going away on vacation for 2 weeks, we should probably make sure that the tech folks we have the foresight to plan. Right? So we've got eyesight, insight, foresight. How often do we settle into the idea that we also have access to God's sight? And when I say that, I specifically am referring to when Meister Eckhart said, between me and God, there is no between. Let that settle in. Between me and God, there is no between. Now, really let that sink in to the degree where if you are an individual who identifies as female, raise your hand for a moment. Okay, is there a space between who you are and what it means to be female? It's one and the same, technically, right? Like you don't say, well, what time is it? I'm going to take my African-Americanness off and put it into the closet. I'm going to take my femininity off and put it in the, like it's one and the same. It's part of who we are to such a degree. May I change your name for a moment?
Yes.
From this point forward for the next 3 weeks, you are Ray.
Right.
You're Ray. I'll be you, okay? Now, does that change how either of us operates in the world? Or does it simply change what we are called? See, oftentimes we get caught up on the labels of things, including vision. We get caught up on this idea that vision means we are supposed to have this one singular idea that drives everything henceforth. And I understand the concept. I understand it. It comes from a very toxic, capitalistic, societal culture, where the business, blah, blah, blah. We're New Thought. We don't do that. I want us to stretch into the idea of, raise your hand if you drive. Okay, when you are driving, well, actually, I'm going to do this first. I really need you to focus. Don't cheat. Stare at this banner right here, and I mean really focus on it. Don't look at anything else for a moment. Use your vision to focus on the banner. Okay. While you were looking at the banner, you can come out of that space. Did you see anything else? Even though you were looking there.
Yes.
Those who drive, when driving, are you not keenly aware? You are focused on what you are seeing in front of you, but your vision expands outward so that you can see. Yeah, that driver in the red car, 4 cars back, is getting ready to come over and without using a blinker, jump in front. We are aware of. Because if you drive solely focusing on what's directly in front of you, you're going to have an accident. So our eyes move, and even in the moving, there's a focal point. Like right now, you are looking, more than likely, you're looking at me, but you may be looking at, someone noticed the sign. Like you're looking at me, but you're also taking in the panorama of everything else. So when we talk about this thing called vision, whether it's vision, mission, purpose, idea, let's not get so caught up on this singular idea of there's only one There's only this. There's only. That which God is. How many stars are in the heavens? How long would it take? Let's go down to one of the, what's the closest beach? Let's go to the closest beach, and we're going to count all of the grains of sand. How long is that going to take? Can we get it done in a day? It's going to take a little bit. That which God is, how many kinds of apples are there? Species of cat, dog, types of t-shirts. That which God is an infinite without end. So that means when we sit in the space of what is the highest and best for not just the community, because if I am a part of the community, then my highest and best has to be part of. How do I ensure that I am living, moving, and having my beingness from this space of my greatest vision for me? So if I were to say, when you wake up in the morning, do you have a sense of, this is what I desire to experience this day? Because that's vision. When we say, it's Sunday morning, oh, we've got service today. Today, I want to feel inspired. I want to express love. I want to, in conversation, listen more intently. What do I want to experience? When we are anchored and grounded in that, then we are far more likely to manifest it and create it. But we say things like, in CSL, the vision for Centers for Spiritual Living, a world that works for all. It's great, it's grand, it's glorious, it's delicious. But when asked, what does that look like to you? Because I've asked folks, I've made quite a few New Thought enemies. Because I ask the questions. Because how many of us, we've experienced this idea of, Dad, what's for dinner? Food. You know what I mean. What kind of food? The kind you eat? Like what kind? The kind that we eat. The kind that your mother cooked. Right? We do the same thing when it comes to peace. What is peace? What does it look like? We have an idea that if we're conversing and we say, I would really love to have a more peaceful drive from here to home. We have an idea of what that means, but I don't know what it means specifically for you, nor do you for me. So when we are talking about this, let's have a level of specificity, like when we go to a restaurant and we say, excuse me, so on the menu it says that these are the ingredients. Can I get this without this cheese? Can you swap the mushrooms out for... Because I know what I want to experience. I know what my taste buds want to taste. This isn't it. In the meal, it's very clear. I see what the meal is. Yes. That's not what I want to taste. So your version of peace and my version of peace may not be the same. Has a different flavor. I think mine's burnt a little bit. I've been in the oven too long. How do we get to a space of, it's by talking about it. And one of the things that we tend to do, yes, we reference, God being all that is, and yes, I get that. Okay, so Voltaire said, God is a circle, circumference, nowhere, center, everywhere. The center of God is everywhere. It means right where you're sitting, the center of God is. Right where you're sitting, the center of God is. Which means you're it. You're it. Because to not recognize that you are a divine incarnation is to say, still, it's an anthropomorphic idea, is to say, well, there's God and then there's me. No, there's only God showing up in, through, and as all. And we have a difficult time wrestling with that because for a lot of us, it's too big, it's too much, it's too holy. Well, we can do it with humanity. How many humanities, when we talk about the humanity, humankind, how many of those are there? On this planet, there's only one. There's one humankind that is made up of however many trillions of individual humans. So we can do it with that, but not with... We can do it with the principle of, what is the chemical compound that is water? H2O. There's only one chemical compound that makes up every river, every stream, every pot of coffee, every cup of tea, every raindrop, every snowflake. There's only one principle of it. So if there's only one, we can understand that with water. We can understand that with... But when it comes to us, it's too much, it's too big. So our invitation is, if we are really going to have vision, using eyesight, insight, foresight, God's sight, then it's recognizing our own divine magnificence. It's recognizing that no matter what any of us have ever done, you're still God. Now, just that phrase, I'm God? Yes. We've heard Rumi say, you know, the reference of the drop in the ocean in the drop, right? And I love the analogy, but it doesn't work for me, because if I just put one drop of water on there and I say, excuse me, when you look at that, what do you see? You're not going to say, oh, it's the ocean. You're not going to see the ocean. You're going to see a drop. I have to tell you it's from the ocean for you to now, oh, for me, it's cake. For me, I use the example of, there's one cake. You take the slice out of the cake. Is that slice the entirety of the cake? But how much of that slice is cake? All of it. We are not the entirety of, but all that we are is. Now that, in and of itself, should change how we live, move, and have our beingness in this great experiment, this great adventure, this great thing called life. Because now it means, well, wait a minute, by my own mental equivalent, because there is no more outside God's will that says, it is my wish that you should now take that class that you've been putting off. You're not doing it. I'm going to send the cosmic 2x4. What? That's still an anthropomorphic God that punishes. Right? And even to say, well, what's God's will for my life is still, and I know we do it, but it's still saying that there is something outside of me that wants me to do this, and that when I don't do it, then, and I understand the concept, I got it, but that's New Thought 1.0. New Thought 1.0 is not going to get us into a world that truly works for all. New Thought 4.0, but it means we have to 4.0 our own selves. That means looking at all of those things within us where our vision, we're driving the car from here, we ain't even gonna go that far. We're gonna just go across the street, but we're gonna do it by looking in the rearview mirror. At which point she says, I ain't getting in the car with you. You said you're gonna drive forward while looking in the mirror backwards. No. I trust your acuity and your insight and whatnot. No. But many of us, that's how we drive our lives. We are attempting to move forward each day while looking at, remember last week when you said, remember when mom said, remember what dad did, remember what that teacher said. We are so far looking back. And there's nothing wrong with reflecting, right? Like when driving, you glance into the rearview mirror, you glance into the side mirrors, but you don't stare. You glance. You glance just long enough to serve the purpose that keeps moving you forward. Our invitation is to live the same way. So when we are choosing health, we'll just say, because all of us, we want health and well-being. I have yet to meet a person that says, you know, this whole thing about health and well-being, I don't like it. I like when my nose runs and the snot drips on my tongue. And you said, what? I like having diarrhea. And wait, what? I have yet to meet a person that argues for illness and such. We all want some version of health and well-being. So if I were to ask, with the vision of looking forward, what do you need to move forward, to have greater health and well-being? Your mental equivalent, what thoughts, what beliefs, what paradigms are you invited to put into the rearview mirror and let fade What emotions and feelings are you invited to let fade? Doesn't mean we bypass or metaphysical malpractice them. We acknowledge it. I feel depressed, right? Many of you have know me before. So 2004 April last year, 2004 is this year. 2003 last year, April, I had prostate surgery because I was diagnosed with cancer the year before. The doctor says it's cancer. It's easy to let the emotions and focus only on. I heard you. My vision is, what do we now need to do to ensure the greatest expression of health and well-being for my body, mind, and spirit? And move forward. Does it mean there are no moments of, no, those show up. But I need not sit with them any longer than necessary. So our invitation really is to say, what do I want to experience individually and collectively? What thoughts, beliefs do I need to have to manifest that? What communication, what words do I need? What body language do I need to bring into being that furthers the possibility of? What emotions and feelings am I invited to, and what actions do I take? So if we were to say, we want a community where people feel welcomed and belong, and et cetera, and we want a thriving community of 4,000 people, and, well, then it means you're going to need more volunteers for the Pride table. It's an action. Right? So the invitation, once again, is to come back and say, what do I need to think? What do I need to say? What do I need to feel? What do I need to do in order for this to manifest and be my experience, your experience, our experience? Because if it's vision just for me, oh, that cake is going to be so delicious. And then I take it and leave. I'm denying other people the opportunity to have that same deliciousness. So peace just for me doesn't benefit the world. Joy just for me doesn't benefit the world. How do we plant the seeds, sow the seeds, and create greater expansiveness of that vision? Breathe as we enter into that space of meditation. Simply feeling the rise and the fall of the chest and the abdomen. No need to micromanage it, just notice it and let it be. And in noticing it and letting it be, also be aware of your ankle. It was there throughout the entirety of service thus far, but were you aware of it? Your right shoulder. Your left earlobe. See, we have the ability to shift and move our focus, our vision, through our mind's eye. Because if I were to say, bring to your mind's eye the face of someone you love, you see them. This opportunity in meditation gives us the opportunity to bring to the forefront of our mind's eye whatever it is we desire to place our focus upon. Focus on love. Focus on what it means to be joyful, peaceful. What does it mean to have our cup runneth over to such a degree that we drink from our saucer? So as we breathe and we go into a moment of silence, go into that space knowing that, as our Jewish siblings would say, that when Moses went to the mountaintop and said, when I go down, they're going to ask me your name. What do I say? And we were told, I am that I am. But what I learned from some of my Jewish friends is, and some rabbi, is that that's not a complete and accurate translation. It's more akin to, I am that which I am ever becoming more of. Breathe. I am that which I am becoming ever more of. Love, more of. Joy, more of. Breathe, realizing that meditation need not simply be what we do, it can be what we are. That this ability, because we're constantly breathing, we don't wake up in the morning and say, so I wonder if I'm going to have to buy a couple of extra breaths today. Because yesterday I breathed a couple of extras and I'm going to have to rob from Peter to pay Paul in the number of breaths. We simply breathe, trusting that that next breath is there. So this ability to be meditation is always with us because the breath is always with us. The ability to go to that space where we recognize and where we realize who and what we truly are. Wherever we are, God is. Whatever we're doing, God is doing. Whoever we hug, God is hugging. Whatever we cook, God is cooking. Wherever we drive, wherever we shop, wherever we show up, God is. And how much is well? All is well. And so it is.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternal.